Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of Croc Talk TV. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And on today's episode, man, we are going to get into 5 key takeaways from the 49ers against Detroit Lions. Road win for the 49ers, all right? But before we get started, make sure if you're not already subscribe to the YouTube channel, all right? Hit that subscribe button right now. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And we're going to get into it, man. Underdog Fantasy, as always, this show is powered by Underdog Fantasy. If you're not already, make sure you guys go over, download the app, or go to underdogfantasy.com. All right. When you sign up with a minimum of $10, promo code Crocky, I'm telling you, you'll really enjoy the app. All right. It's great stuff. So again, make sure you guys use promo code Crocky. Jerry Serman, what up? Adrian, what's good? I see my people filtering in here, man. We're going to talk about it. So first of all, let's talk about the 5 key notes that we'll be going over. 1, road win. All right. A lot of people kind of overlooking that aspect of it. I'll get into that. QB usage. All right. That's number 2. QB usage. Jimmy Garoppolo, his play. Trey Lance coming in, doing what he did. How are they going to use it? That dynamic. What do I see from the Lions game, and how do I see that moving forward? All right. Injuries. Should the 49ers have gotten guys out? Jason Verrett, obviously he went down 20 ACL, and that's tough. But I'll talk about injuries and kind of how the rosters are constructed. Brandon Aiyuk, 0 targets. People were expecting him to be the 49ers' number 1 target as far as from a receiving perspective, and also his fantasy play. All right. And then so I'll get into Aiyuk. Serman, healthy scratch, interesting. And Mitchell came in, played well, got all those snaps. And then DeMeco Ryans. Obviously, late game meltdown. We'll get into that. All right. So those are the 5 topics that we'll be going over. And of course, I want to get into the road win first. Ugly win, right? It was an ugly win. But was it really? All right. I mean, we're talking about the 49ers who were up, 38-10. So you're kind of like you're blowing the team out, okay? And we all know that sometimes teams can get a little laxed, and at the end of the game it got tight, but like it was an interesting game, and they had some weird things happen, but I don't want that to overshadow how well I thought the 49ers came out and executed for really most of the game until there was like 6 minutes left, which sounds kind of like the Super Bowl again, and that wasn't great. But I thought the 49ers came out, man, fumbled on the first snap, and I did not think the Lions were great. If it's against a different team, maybe some things would have went a different way. But just in general, you're traveling damn near across the country. You're playing up north in Detroit. This is a road game. Road wins are typically hard to get in general. I think because the 49ers are playing the Lions, and you look at the spread definitely favored the 49ers in that matchup. But you look at it, and it's like, okay, 7.5 point favorite, 8 point favorites, whatever it is, 49ers definitely should beat this team. And they did, beat them by 8 points as well. But wins on the road, they're not gimmies. And I think there were other teams that played some games that either lost, and teams are probably looking at those teams like, damn, how'd that team lose? And that could be you. So I think the fact that the 49ers came out and executed for most of that game and the way that they were able to win, awesome. Now, are there things that the 49ers want to clean up? Of course. And I think sometimes when you play in a game like that where you still got the W, which is awesome, but a game where things didn't – you showed what it looks like when things go your way and you're executing and you're playing extremely well, fast, physical defense, had the pick six, all type of things like that. Everything's going your way. And then you also now have the film of, well, what does it look like when it's not going your way? What does it look like when you're doing whatever, maybe guys aren't fitting in their lanes. Maybe you don't recover an onside kick and you start having these weird things happen, injuries happen and stuff like that. And I think it's always good sometimes to be able to kind of see how are we going to overcome those things. So first, again, great road win. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it feels like we lost. Feels like, okay, great. But you got a road win. And, 3 more wins like that, and the 49ers have as many wins as they had all of last season. All right, but great road win. Got a little weird at the end, but you got up out of there, and there's a lot of things that you can learn from. So I don't want to overlook the aspect of winning on the road. I think that alone right there was a good win for the 49ers. So I just kind of want to get into winning on the road, which typically is not something that's just a given. Maybe it is against the Lions. We'll see how many games they win this year. Now, the second topic I wanted to get into was QB usage. And we'll get into more of this in about 50 minutes with my guy, Greg Pinelli. We're going to be going live. All right, so make sure you guys, QB Monday is coming up. All right, but QB usage come out, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to see from Jimmy Garoppolo. If you look at the previous 3 or 4 week ones as a 49er, like none of them were pretty. You had the Vikings game, threw 3 picks, including the pick 6. 49ers lost on the road. You had the Tampa Bay game, another game, threw a pick 6 against Tampa. 49ers were able to get a win, but I think a lot of it came from Kelly Witherspoon had a pick 6, Richard Serman had a pick 6, and the 49ers ended up winning by 2 scores, but that wasn't a great game. And then you had last year where the 49ers came out and lost to Arizona. So 49ers haven't been great week 1. Wasn't sure exactly what I was going to see from Jimmy Garoppolo, but he came out extremely well. Firing was sharp. I think his first incompletion came on actually like a spike right before the end of the half, and he threw away like another pass or whatever, and then another pass to kind of milk some of the time. So I thought from Jimmy Garoppolo's standpoint, it was terrific. I didn't think that the game plan asked him to do a whole lot, and we'll see how he does when maybe a little bit more is kind of put on his shoulders. I thought he was able to be comfortable and obviously was extremely clean in the pocket for most of the game. There were a couple of times where teams got pressure on him, and I think I saw the numbers where the 49ers gave up 2 pressures the entire game. So he was pretty clean. But when he wasn't, he spun out of some stuff, made some stuff happen, moved a little bit in the pocket, even the fumble at the end with to Deebo Samuel. But, he moved, stepped up, dumped it off to Deebo. He ran for a first down, eventually fumbled. But I thought Jimmy looked very comfortable, and I thought Kyle didn't really ask a whole lot from him outside of, like, you don't have to make plays. Just make these throws. And for the most part, he did. Obviously, no game is going to be just perfect. There aren't going to be just no missed throws for the most part. And, he had a couple passes to Deebo Samuel where it's kind of behind him and ended up going off his hands, or one that was low on the little RPO slant ended up going off of Deebo's hands. But, for a majority of that game, I thought he played well within what he was asked to do. Now, the go route to Deebo Samuel that resulted in the touchdown, I thought that play, was he underthrowing it on purpose? I don't know. I think maybe some of that had to do with him like kind of getting pressure. I think he got hit on that play, still trying to get the ball out, got it out there enough. Deebo Samuel did an awesome job of being able to adjust to the underthrown pass, catching and scoring touchdown. And my thing with that is there was an interception Jimmy Garoppolo threw in training camp, right? He threw an interception throwing downfield to Deebo Samuel. And I think it was Jason Verrett that picked it off. And it was described as a pass that just kind of fluttered in the air. And I said, I like that he's attempting that, because regardless of if it got picked off there or not, whatever, when you're throwing the ball downfield and you're giving your guys opportunities, like, just let your playmakers make plays. Not every ball downfield is going to be perfect. Let your playmaker make plays. And Deebo Samuel, we saw it last year against the Ravens where Deebo, it wasn't a great thrown ball. I don't even know what Jimmy was thinking, but he threw it, and Deebo said, I'm just going to go and make a play. That was against the Ravens. Not last year, year before, yesterday. Okay, like, it was actually terrific coverage. But what he do, just gave his dude a chance. Just go make a play, Deebo. Make a play for me. And Deebo made the play. So when he threw that interception in training camp, I had said, I like that he's at the very least attempting. I don't care what the ball looks like. I don't care if it wasn't a pretty deep ball. Throw it. Give your guy a chance. And a lot of times what you'll see, even on those underthrown passes, a pass interference, potentially. Or maybe worst case scenario, they break it up or whatever. Obviously, you don't want the interception, but I really like the fact that whether he intended to underthrow it like that or if it was an accident, give your playmakers a chance. Great. Now, we did see early on, Trey Lance came in the game. Kyle Shanahan said he wasn't really even expecting to kind of throw him in there. I'm curious to see what they do with this whole thing moving forward. How much of the game plan was kind of predicated on Trey Lance's finger, right? So he had the little finger, he's recovering from that. Maybe Kyle was like, you know what, we're not going to throw a whole lot at Trey Lance this game. We're not even really expecting to put him in there. But on the first drive, he did. He came in and threw a touchdown. Didn't look like he threw the ball that hard to me on that one. And I'll say this about Trey Lance, and I've said it before. When Trey Lance is comfortable with what he's seeing, and he doesn't have to second guess, the ball comes out clean and it comes out nice. And it's a very catchable pass. When Trey Lance gets a little bit of that, am I supposed to throw it? Am I not? I'm just going to throw it. And it comes out like a goddamn, I don't know, like a rifle or something, like somebody shooting a shotgun and just, right? So, you would like to see him get more comfortable with his reads. That was an easy read. Had Trent Sherfield run a nice little return route, little whip route, whoop the defensive back. Actually had Debo, if he would have waited a tick longer, had Debo in the end zone too. Whatever. Take the completion. First pass attempt in the NFL, touchdown. Now, in the run game with Trey Lance, not sure if he looked very comfortable. Had 2-3 runs. Maybe netted 4 yards. I'd have to look at the stats. Wasn't anything that was great. But again, I think everybody's looking at it like, oh, man, the 2-quarterback system is not going to work. Like, I'm sorry, do you win the Super Bowl in week 1? Like, no. So, okay, whatever kinks you're going to have with it, get it out now. Really work to continue to kind of get more and more comfortable with either the rotation of those guys, the usage of those guys, and really with Trey Lance just seeing it, right? But there is value to having him run the ball because there's so many different things they can do off of it. When they did that motion and stuff in the red zone, teams didn't know. If you look at everybody, they're all stuck looking at Trey Lance. Is he going to run? No, he's throwing it, and boom, threw a touchdown. Couldn't throw it to Debo. So you definitely want to incorporate this. I'm curious to see if they start to use him more in the red zone. At the time the 49ers got down inside the 5, and I thought, oh, for sure we're going to see Trey Lance, and we just didn't, right? And it was on the touchdown where JaMychal Hasty ended up scoring. So that's just kind of my opinion on those first things. Again, talked about the road win, talked about the quarterback usage in the play. And now I'm going to get to a couple comments. I see you guys going in on the comments. I appreciate everybody in here. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. There are some questions in here that I see, and some of them are going to be in my 5 topics. So I won't touch on them just yet. But if I don't touch on it, I'll definitely try to get back to it. All right. Here we go. Let's see. It was a wasted play. They probably did the typical thing, trying to get space for Wisnowski. I don't know which play you're responding to. But all right, here we go. So my road win was topic number 1. Topic number 2, QB play and usage. And topic number 3, injuries. Jason Verrett. Should they have gotten Jason Verrett out of the game? And I think most people are saying like, wow, what is he doing in? Like, it's a blowout. And I'll say this. Go around the NFL and go look at blowouts and then check and see who comes out of games. All right. Like even in the blowout, go see how many times do you see the starters come out? In the NFL, one, there's not a lot of blowouts. Like games are closer typically. So there's that aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is teams really just don't take their starters out like that. Now, I get it. Everybody's like, oh, well, take all your starters out. I think if I'm Kyle Shanahan in a situation like that, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably do it moving forward, if I'm up like that, maybe at the very least get out my key guys that I 100% can't lose. So Nick Bosa, you got to come out. If I could take him out, take him out. Fred Warner and Jason Verrett, right? And especially with Verrett because he's injury prone. I mean, he's been prone to have injuries. And maybe even D Ford if I can get him out of there. Get those guys out. Aside from that, you got to kind of play these guys because I think one thing, and everybody's like, well, you have enough for a second group. You don't know how much that second group has played or practiced. And I think everybody thinks, oh, NFL practice, the reserve guys are getting a ton of practice and they should understand the game plan and know the game plan and be able to just step right in. They ain't getting that many snaps and reps in practice. They're just not. Your starters get like 90% of the reps. Like they're getting all the reps. Prepare them and they're used to seeing them and what's going to be expected of them. So if you can kind of wait, the longer you can wait and kind of hold off, all right. But you can't just have mass substitutions like that and expect to still uphold some level of execution, whether it's on offense or defense. NFL just don't work like that because of the practice time. And again, they don't even have a whole lot of practice time. All right. So that's kind of my issues on that. Now, like what now with Jason Verrett? Obviously, like he's hurt. What do 49ers do at the cornerback position? I think that's going to definitely be a interesting thing to see what they do. You signed Josh Norman, but Josh Norman wasn't playing at as high of a level as what we've seen from Jason Verrett. So will we see the best version of Josh Norman? You better hope so, because he's probably going to be in there. Now, what's going to happen with Emmanuel Mosley? How healthy will he be? The fact that he didn't play, obviously that's a little worrisome. You got to look at the cornerback position, and you got a lot of youth. And I saw some people ask about Ambry Thomas and his development and things like that. And you see Deommodore Lenoir, who actually played 90 snaps, man. Lenoir played 90 snaps, which is crazy. That's a ton of snaps. Pretty sure that ice bath for him felt really good today. I saw a question asking about the development of these guys. And let me see if I can scroll up. There's a good amount of comments in here. I appreciate everybody that's active in here right now. Let's see. I don't think I'm going to be able to see it. Oh, right here. Here we go. Crocky, where are you at with Ambry's development? I get Deommodore is nice surprise, but I want to know how far away is Ambry. I trust he is getting there. So with Ambry he's a rookie. And I think we do see guys come in and they're able to make an immediate impact. Ambry Thomas, he hasn't played as well as you would like. Just keep working. That's it. So with his development, I really can't answer Ambry Thomas development questions until next year. Then I'll have a better, answer for you. Sometimes it's just a matter of how much is he thinking? Is he able to play at full speed? You want to talk about development. I think the biggest thing for Ambry Thomas to develop so that the game starts to slow down for him and he can play fast is the mental aspect of it. So once he can get that and not have to think about what he's doing, you should see him be able to play faster, especially a guy who plays at a good speed. And if he can do that, then I think he'll be fine. All right. But 1 second, y'all. I got to answer this phone call really quick. So we're going to take a 30-second break really quick. Now, all right, my bad. That was my guy, Greg Pinelli, QB Monday. He's over there trying to get ready for the game, needed some help with something. But again, the development of Ambry Thomas, I won't really know really more. I can't answer that question until I see him next year. The mental aspect of it. And I've talked about just my time in the NFL and what the toughest thing was, especially for a guy like me who's already not fast, right? Like Ambry at least has speed. Eric Crocker don't got that much speed. I was a 4.55 guy. All right, so I can run, but I couldn't run. Now, it made me even slower with how much I had to think on the field. All right, I'm thinking about if they're 2x2, okay, and I got a fire zone cover 3, as opposed to a sky cover 3, my responsibility changes. If I have 2 guys here, but then the motion over another guy, now there's 3. How do I play this in fire zone as opposed to sky? What if it's a bunch and it's man? What are our checks to that? You start to look at a lot of the different things that kind of go into playing the cornerback position and how you can't just play extremely fast because you're thinking so much, especially as a youngster. So that's where Ambry probably has to develop the most. He played mainly press at Michigan. I don't know how much Michigan asked of him to really play different coverages. They ran some different zones, but again, everything that I saw Ambry Thomas do was from the line of scrimmage, whereas Deommodore Lenoir played a more variety of coverages. What I noticed on film, I saw him playing press. I saw him playing off. I saw him playing a bunch of different type of zones. Did not really see that from Ambry Thomas, So the learning curve with Ambry Thomas and getting him to play up to his potential and up to his speed might be different. Even if you see him, I mean, we see him just get beat on straight go routes. It's happened in like 3 games now, including preseason. But even then, he could be thinking about everything else that's going on. Have they tried to change some of Ambry Thomas's technique? Is he trying to work the technique that they want him to use? Those are questions I don't know. I don't know the answer to those, but I would say that could make it difficult on a guy who at corner, you just want him to be able to read and react, and he could possibly not be there yet. So when it comes to Ambry Thomas, as far as Diamador Lenore, I think maybe that's what's going on there. I appreciate the comment, Dan. My guy Nick, thank you for the contribution. Hey, I'm gonna use this contribution right here to get you a drink when I'm out there in New York and Philly next week or this weekend. So yeah, hey, you guys, make sure you guys tap in with myself, my guy Nick. If you're going to the Philadelphia game with the 49ers, we'll be there, man. And make sure y'all tap in. I appreciate everybody that's always supporting me, supporting the show. All right. But yeah, I'm ready to party, man. I can't wait to get out there with you guys. Hell yeah, let's go. All right, here we go. Did I see let's see, here we go. Going to be growing pains with Ryan. Solid struggle when he started too. I'm going to get into DeMeco Ryans. All right, that's my last topic. All right, so let's keep it moving here. Let's get into my next topic. All right, again, we've already talked about road wins. That's the number one topic, right? First topic, being able to win on the road is never a given. So it's a good job. 49ers came away with a W, a lot that they can learn from, a lot that they did well. Now, hey, let's work on some of these things that were a little bit mishaps, maybe things that we changed and we were doing good in the first half, then maybe do it very well in the second half. Let's fix those things. QB usage and play. Thought Jimmy Garoppolo played well. Didn't feel like he was asked to do anything extraordinary, which with Kyle Shanahan, typically Jimmy is not. Just make these throws to these guys that are open. And, hey, let's keep giving Deebo Samuel some shots down the field. Injuries with Jason Verrett. Again, everybody wants to talk about just pulling all your starters out, but typically in the NFL, it doesn't work like that. The reserve guys just don't get a lot of reps in practice. The starters get a bulk of it and understand the game plan better than anybody. Maybe you can have a couple guys that you would like to get out in case there is a blowout, like your D4, like your Nick Bosa, like your Jason Verrett, guys who have had injuries in the past. But aside from that, it's really hard to just bring in the mass substitutions. And the next topic, number 4, Brandon Aiyuk, 0 targets. Trey Serman, healthy scratch. All right. First, let's talk about Aiyuk. I did see a tweet, and I don't know, was it Matty Barrows or whoever it was, but there was a tweet about Brandon Aiyuk saying that he's potentially in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse, and we've seen guys get in that doghouse for whatever reason. Now, I didn't hear Kyle Shanahan say this, but I know I got a response from someone saying, well, Kyle said he kind of wanted to preserve Aiyuk a little bit, and you guys could tell me if you guys heard this or read this or anything, but he wanted to preserve Aiyuk a little bit because something about his hamstring and whatnot, and he wants to see those things or his growing get better or whatever. But here's my thing. If you are truly worried about somebody's hamstring or growing or whatever, you sure do have him opening up on to clear it out for Deebo Samuel underneath. Now you're putting a lot of stress on those soft tissue muscles. That was interesting to see. You have them playing just in general. Typically, when you have soft tissue injuries like that, you want these guys to just relax until that thing feels 100%. If it's not 100%, you risk the chance of injury just doing anything. So curious, they just had him out there. So we're talking about him running clear outs where he has to really open up and stretch the defense vertically, but his hamstring hurting. All right. And then just playing him in general and then having him do punt returns, putting that at harm's way, all the different movements and reacting and things like that. So I didn't hear Kyle Shanahan say that, but I know I got a response from that on Twitter where somebody was like, Kyle was saying something about him being hurt. So obviously we know that he was having some injuries, issues or whatever. How much did that affect him, in his usage in the game? I don't know, but if I have any questions about him potentially re-injuring something or not being 100% healthy, then I'm just not playing him. And I'm just going, and I'll bring up Travis Benjamin, and I'll play Deebo, and I'll play Sanu, and I'll play Trent Sherfield, and I'll play Juwan Jennings. And you go sit down and get healthy. As far as Trey Sermon goes, That was a little more interesting. But I'll say this. One, when Trey Serman was drafted, I didn't think he was a Kyle Shanahan style back. I thought maybe Kyle was trying to do something a little different with maybe a more patient back, maybe not the super explosive back that we've seen from really all the other guys. He's not even like a shifty guy. So I was thinking best case scenario, he's your Arian Foster. And did Kyle coach Arian Foster in Houston at all? That would be something interesting to know. Maybe he reminded Kyle of Arian Foster. Now, the thing with Arian Foster, he was an undrafted rookie free agent. He was not a third-round pick and somebody that you traded up for. So if you trade up for him, clearly somebody really likes him. But Mitchell seemed to be a little bit more of Kyle's fit from what we've seen, right? Like just that one-cut guy that can get vertical right now. You see that with the speed and the home run ability. Then it was good to see him kind of break through some tackles and things like that. And we'll get into him a little bit, but I did not think Serman was that type of back. I did not think that Serman's style necessarily fit exactly what Kyle did. But again, did see Kyle have Morris. What was Morris's first name? Alfred Morris run for 1,600 yards. So we'll see if he continues to just be a healthy scratch. Thought that was interesting. If anything, I thought it would have been Hasty. So the fact that Hasty actually played, suited up, and only got one carry, so it's not like they planned on using him a whole lot, but do they value him right now more than Serman? What is Serman not doing well? And Serman was a guy who was getting all the first team if not first team, then second team reps all through training camp. And now all of a sudden he's just not playing. That was hella interesting to see. So I don't know, man. We talk about these guys and potentially in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse. That doghouse is scary with Kyle Shanahan. He's someone who expects a certain level of professionalism. All right, he expects a certain level of professionalism. He expects his guys to perform a certain way. He expects his guys to carry themselves a certain way. And if they're not doing it to his liking, then I feel like his patience with you is a little bit shorter. And he will do things that make you uncomfortable. Now, the one thing I do appreciate with Kyle Shanahan is, even if you get in his dog, like he talks to you about it, he tells you about it. So you have every opportunity to change whatever it is that you're doing, and he wants to get more out of you. He gives you every opportunity to do that. He has these conversations with you. So on Locked On 49ers, I talked about my incident in college, right? And I went to a Division II school. And, week 1, week 2, playing well. I wasn't giving up any catches. We're balling, whatever, we win. Week 3, we lose. I think maybe I gave up 2 catches that game. Nothing crazy. I come into the meetings and I'm benched. And I don't know why. And it blows up in the meeting. I'm trying to fight coaches. I'm going back to California. F all y'all, come fight me, whatever. It blows up because of a miscommunication with them not liking the way I was carrying myself or the way I was practicing as a team captain. It's kind of setting an example for the younger guys, but nobody told me. So had a conversation with me. I fixed it, and I ended up being all conference. I think Kyle Shanahan talks to guys ahead of time. Hey, look, this is what my expectations are for you. This is how you've been carrying yourself. You need to figure out how to get out of this. And, a guy like Trent Sherfield, who carries himself like the ultimate pro. I listened to him on KBR, and I was like, damn, like I could see why Kyle Shanahan likes this guy. The way he carries himself, the way he focused, the way he practiced, the way he came in and learned all of the spots, the way he talked about how 49ers offense was drastically more difficult to grasp than the Cardinals playbook. But he came in and learned every spot and said, hey, these guys aren't going to get me off of the field. I know you guys probably hear that bird in the background. I'm in I have a sunroom at my house, so I'm in the sunroom right now. But so there's there's windows, but they're just like giant screens. And anyways, so you can hear the bird out there. But yeah, man, I kind of went off on a tangent. But anyways, Kyle Shanahan, he keeps it a buck with them. He keeps it real with them, and he lets them know exactly where they stand with him. And if they are going to be in the doghouse, he lets them know exactly why they're there, and they have every opportunity to get themselves out of that. We've seen it with other guys. We've seen it with, even guys like Joe Williams, who never even, I don't even think he played a regular season snap with the 49ers. Keller Witherspoon, he had gotten that doghouse a little bit. How are you going to work to get out of it? We've seen it from Dante Pettis. How are you going to work to get out of it? Dante Pettis struggled with it and struggled with somebody being that upfront and honest with him. And that happens with some guys. Could Aiyuk be going through that similar thing? I saw a report on that. I don't know if that's the case, but definitely Trey Serman, you were a healthy scratch. You got to figure it out. I'm pretty sure Kyle Shanahan has talked to them about why, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that from a coach. So, yeah, I see some people in here, man, they're saying, hey, hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll get to a lot of the comments in here. I'm going to get to this last topic here. This is topic number 5, and it's DeMeco Ryans. I've seen some people come out and be critical of him because of the fourth quarter meltdown. No, I don't agree. I think he came out, he called a good game. Were the things that they need to fix? Yeah, you come out and you get gashed up the middle. All right, like, dude, Kinlaw, get in there. I need you, right? But got gashed in the run game a little bit. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's fix it. Regardless of that, midway through the fourth quarter or whatever it was, they had 10 points and scored 38-10 or 41-10 or whatever it was. Now, because of the last few minutes, everybody's down on DeMeco Ryan. And it's like, dude, like, I get it. Things did not go their way. Maybe the 49ers went to more of a prevent defense. Maybe them going to the prevent defense made a team have to check down a little bit more. I lose my starting cornerback in Jason Verrett. I got to throw Dante Johnson in. As soon as he comes in, they throw it deep. They get the ball on the 1 yard line. Like, I didn't see anything from that game from a schematical standpoint. There was like, oh, well, the 49ers weren't prepared and weren't ready. They got gashed in the run game. Okay, let's go back to the drawing boards and fix that. But overall, for a majority of the game, he called a good game. I don't think we saw anything that was just like, oh, man, like, this is terrible. The 49ers defense is completely unprepared. Excuse me. I'm getting a little too excited here, man, because I see all the comments, man. I see all the comments about him. I even see your comments right now, and we're going to get to them. I'm going to get to them. But we're talking about a guy who, for the majority of the game, 49ers had given up 10 points. And because you start having some injuries, some fluky stuff happened, onside kick goes off Kittle's face mask. You got to play with Dante Johnson in the game. I mean, we're talking about things that happen. Like, that's who he had to play with. And I saw somebody talk about Robert Saleh early on. They were like, oh, well, Robert Saleh struggled early on. Robert Saleh struggled early on, not because he didn't know what he was doing or from a schematical standpoint, but because of his personnel, right? Like, who did Robert Saleh have in that first year that was like, oh, like, these are guys to build around? Who? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who? So we saw Robert Saleh continue to get better as the players got better. You get players better and guys get to grow more in this game, then you stop seeing some of those things. But I thought Robert Saleh did a lot of encouraging things early on, and I noticed it, and it was weird that other people were so down on him. And I get the results of the results, but even in his second year, 49ers were ranked like, what, 11th or 12th in the NFL defensively, you know, in yardage. And that was with 5 takeaways. He had nobody taking the ball away. He had no playmakers out there. So it's like, damn, I'm out here. I got no edge rushers. Got maybe a young linebacker in Fred Warner. I'm supposed to have Reuben Foster. He ain't out here. Guys are hurt all the time. I think Tart was playing well, but missed like half the year. So you have all these different things going on, and still 49ers had 12 defense or 11 defense in the NFL. And Robert Saleh, and then he gets, you know, then they like, all right, well, we're really going to get you some weapons now. Serman ended up being a year removed from his injury at this point. You know, Witherspoon started to play better, a little up and down, whatever the case is. But now you have Bosa. Now you have D Ford, Fred Warner another year. Like, then boom, number 1 defense in the league. But Saleh didn't all of a sudden get good. He was getting good already. He just didn't have the personnel. So we look at DeMeco Ryans last night, and already, especially at the cornerback position, he's a little short-handed. I got to go out here with a rookie, Deommodore Lenoir, playing on the outside. All right. I got Verrett, though. Oh, dang, Verrett goes down. And then the issues start. So you got you're trying to figure some things out. For a minute, they tried to bring some backups in. They brought in Ambry Thomas. He didn't play very well, but they had took out Kawan Williams. You had lost Verrett. You maybe taking out some edge rushers, and things start happening. And now it's like, oh man, DeMeco Ryans, he can't coach now. Like, DeMeco Ryans, he can't coach because he's playing with all these reserve players. Like, because Dante Johnson got called for a pass interference on the 1 yard line. Like, now he can't coach. Like, get out of here, man. Oh, like the game plan was sound. The Lions had 10 points, like damn near midway through or whatever it was. Then weird stuff started happening. They scored. They got an onside kickback. They scored. You got reserves in. Weird things started happening, but I think ultimately it helps him say, look, can't walk around like our stuff don't stink. We have to make sure that we pay attention to the fine details of things. If anything, he needs to we got to have this get the personnel right. So is Josh Norman going to help him? What are they going to do at the cornerback position? Make sure things are tight. Can we get Kinlaw back? Get guys back, start making some plays, man. I think you're going to be fine. No issues about DeMeco Ryans in his game plan up until the last 2 minutes. So I look at everything in its entirety. I thought he coached a good game up until the very end, and I think a lot of that had to do with the personnel that was out there. More so than him just being a bad coordinator. All right. But those are my 5 things I wanted to kind of talk about. I'm gonna leave the floor open for y'all. In 20 minutes, we got QB Monday starting up. But before we get into QB Monday, which starts in 20 minutes, I'm gonna give y'all the floor to where you can join. I'm gonna try to just come in and just get your question off. And it should be in there now. Yep. So you can come in and get your question off. There's been so much chattering in here, and I was trying to get to the points, so I wasn't able to really get to a lot of these things that you guys were saying. The bird is obviously saying, preach. That bird was going crazy, huh? Let's see. I'm still going to read some of these. Maybe Aiyuk took a play off or something. All I know is Cal overanalyzed the game all game long. Just glad we got the W. I don't know if we could say Kyle Shanahan overanalyzed the game all game long. 49ers were up 31-10 or whatever at halftime. Like 49ers scored 41 points. Obviously, one was the pick six. 41 on the road. First game of the season, early game. You guys were up. I live in Arkansas. You can see the hog stuff in the background. I live in Arkansas. You guys were up at 9 a.m. getting ready for this game to watch a 10 a.m. game. Like, and the 49ers scored 41 points on the road and walked out with a W. I get everybody want to act like it's all, doomsday, gloomsday, and all of that stuff, but I thought there were a lot of positive, and then there at the end, it's like, okay, got some things we need to fix here. But I don't think any of it was the end of the world. I don't think he was overanalyzing anything. I thought Kyle Shanahan coached a really good game. I thought DeMeco Ryans ended up kind of getting a little short-handed at the end, and some weird stuff started happening, and onside kick and pass interference and different things with Dante Johnson. I don't want Dante Johnson to have to be on the field. That's supposed to be Jason Verrett. That's supposed to be Emmanuel Mosley. I got to play with a rookie the whole game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's start looking at this like from like the bigger perspective of what was really going on. My guy Dion, let me put my headset on. Hold on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's good, Dion?
What's good with you, Croc? How you doing, fam?
Oh man, I'm chilling. What's good with you?
I'm understanding everything that you're saying. The only thing that I felt that DeMeco Ryans had an issue with was the run game. And that basically just, that part of the personnel, I would say he has. We're too deep on the defensive line, but it happens. So you got to work on it, figure out what went wrong, move on to the next game. I agree with you on the fact that the road game, the win was a good one. It was a win. It looked ugly toward the end, but it was still a dub, and the road win is very hard to come by. The other thing that I would say is that I would rather have Diamador Lenoir out there. Thomas looks like he still needs some work. Like he really, that year off kind of hurt him. Yeah. And that's what they were saying about a lot of the rookies. Unfortunately, for me, my question is, does Elijah Mitchell take Raheem Mostert's starting spot?
I don't know if he just takes Raheem Mostert's spot, and maybe we could see something like what we saw from Raheem Mostert and Tevin Coleman early on, where Tevin Coleman was the starter, but their numbers, their carries, and everything was damn near even towards the end of the year.
Kind of similar. Okay.
I think there's a scenario for something like that. I think the bigger question is, does Elijah Mitchell just completely take over what people thought was supposed to be Trey Sermon's role? And Serman was maybe the second highest 49er player drafted. in fantasy leagues. You know what I'm saying? So
I tell you, I think he does. I honestly believe that he does, and strictly based on the fact of how he ran last night. Elijah Mitchell played like his hair was on fire. Like he moved. He went in that pocket. He did his thing. The only other thing I would have to say is don't bring Trey Lance in and do these little gimmick run plays. You brought him in when you said earlier, my comment, there was a guy named Jordan Anderson in the comments. He was talking about the 3rd and 20 QB draw, and I let him know 9 times out of 10 what they're doing is trying to give a little more room for Mitch Wisnowski.
Not for the kicker, because I think they kicked it. I think they kicked the so for Robbie Gould.
Oh, Robbie Gould, yeah. So you're not gonna really expect to convert a 3rd and 20. It's extremely unlikely that you are. Now, if you did, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's dope. But I think that when you bring Trey in, let him throw the ball. Let him get a little loose, man. Draw up something simple for him, to at least let him showcase his skills. Now toward the end of that game, I was looking, and I'm telling you, like I had plenty of people in there, man, because we was at a bar. And I swear to you, all of them was pissed because they lost their money on the spread. Like,
right. I had a lot of buddies that lost about $500+ on it. Well, not lost. Man. It just ended up being a push.
Yeah. Rather than that. So, for me, I looked at the game as a whole, and I say this. This is why I said we should have drafted a defensive back. We should have drafted Asante Samuel rather than Trey Serman. I don't know why.
I get you. Because I wanted.
I wanted Asante because of his daddy. I like a ball hawk, and Asante Samuel Sr. was a ball hawk. Those are my types of DBs.
If it were me, and my co-host, if you guys don't know, listen to 49ers, Locked On 49ers with my guy Brian Peacock. He does this thing called the shadow draft. So he tracks every single one of his picks for the 49ers, and he picks, and he's been doing it for several years now. His pick at that time, I think it would have been Asante Samuel. Mine was Terrace Marshall. So I can't even say that I would have drafted it. It was either a corner or receiver for me, but I just had Terrace Marshall higher than I had Asante Samuel. So I went with the guy that was higher on my draft board. But obviously it looks like 49ers don't need that with Trent Sherfield. I think he does a lot of what Terrace Marshall can do in theory. So yeah. So yeah, that just kind of I get it. I really liked Asante Samuel there, but the 49ers did. I mean, they still drafted 2 corners.
We did, and Lenore looks great. Fun fact: I went to high school with his older brother. Didn't even know that. My boy had to remind me because his last name is ridiculous. His last name reminded me of something, and I couldn't put a finger on it. And his older brother's name is Commodore Lenore. So you got Diamador, you got Commodore. Like they do their thing with their names.
Yeah, we got a question for you right here.
Okay.
He says, so you wanted to draft a player because of their dad?
Okay, so Chris, first of all, I feel like like you're trying to come for me, and I'm gonna tell you this. It's called lineage, young blood. You got to learn something, okay? Think before you speak. Don't come to me out of left field. I know my football. I'm not stupid. The reason that you want to draft Asante Samuel Jr. is because his daddy did it, and his daddy can teach it to him. And why is he playing cornerback? Because his father did. Patrick Surtain, his father did. J.C. Horn, though his father played wide receiver, he's playing defensive back, and he was a damn good person. And the reason that you draft someone is based off of their lineage and the fact that their parent can teach them the things that they had. It's not always going to work out. Look at the Manning brothers. They better than their daddy was. Look at the Bosas. They better than their parents were. So before you come at me trying to tell me something like that, bro, you got to think about your facts before you come for your boy. I'm not dumb. You look at the lineage, you understand the reasoning behind drafting the player. That's game over on that one.
All right, I like it. The clap back was, I need a soundboard so I can let off some shots, some Joe Budden shots.
I'm serious, bro. Like that question was, you draft a player because of their dad. Yes.
He says, so why don't we draft Jerry Rice Jr.?
Because Jerry Rice Jr. was hot garbage and nobody wanted him. Okay, not everybody works out. That's obvious. Come on, man. Just use your head, bro. I appreciate you giving the donations to my dog. You can keep donating all you want, but you got to think about it. Deion Sanders Jr. wasn't great, but look at Shador. Look at his next son. Those 2 kids project to be NFL stars. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't always work out that way. But in this instance, yes, Asante Samuel Jr. looked damn good. And so did Patrick Surtain, his kid. And so does J.C. Horn. These kids were high draft picks based off of their lineage. Why? Because if your parent has that, 90% of the stuff you learn come from the home, any and everything in life. So you got to think about it. If you walk around with a football in your hand all the time and your daddy is Asante Samuel Jr. and he teaching you nothing but to ball out and play hardcore DB, why wouldn't you want to draft a player whose father was great in the NFL when he played for the Patriots and the Eagles? I'm sorry. Did I miss something? Look at the Bosa brothers. Nick Bosa was probably running drills in his mama's womb. Like, come on now, bro. You really just reaching at this point.
All right, yeah, but no, I get what you're saying. I get what Chris is saying, because of the way that you initially said the question, and then I also get your response as well. Where it's like, look, like, you know, we see some of these guys. I don't think there's a coincidence that some of these guys end up having a bunch of brothers, you know, whether their dad was in the league and then they have multiple brothers in the league. We see that with the Watt boys. We see that with the Bosas. We've seen that even with the St. Browns. You know, kind of the list goes on.
The Manning, the Manning brothers. Exactly. Manning brothers,
the safeties, my bad, y'all. There we go. My bad, I'm still here.
You here? Yeah, we just can't see you yet. It says looking for the phone.
Yeah. All right. Damn. All right. I don't know what happened. So I guess that's the time to shut this whole thing down. So Dion, I appreciate you coming on.
For sure, my guy. Hey, man.
I'll be right back for everybody. Yeah, all good. Hey, I'll be right back. I know it's a cat talking to y'all now. It's like Garfield or something. But we'll be right back. We got QB Monday coming up. That kicks off in 10 minutes. So appreciate everybody for coming in here right now. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button. Garfield signing off. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky, all that good stuff. I'll be right back with my guy Greg Pinelli in 10 minutes. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown. Croc Talk TV podcast. Peace.